When we hear the word percent, all that means is out of 100. So if I said 2%, that's the same as saying 2 out of 100, right? So if we have 100%, that's the same as saying 100 out of 100. To write a percent as a fraction, simply write the percent as a fraction with a denominator of 100. You're going to write as a fraction with a denominator of 100. Let's say we had, denominator. Let's say we had 35%, okay? We want to write this as a fraction with a denominator of 100. Our numerator becomes this 35, and because it's percent, we say out of 100. That's our first step. We write it as a fraction with a denominator of 100. Our next step then would be to simplify. Now we know that 35 and 100 can both be divided by 5. So when we simplify by dividing by 5, we're left with 7 out of 25. Let's try another one. What if we had, in this case, 168%? Now, this exceeds 100, but we're still going to write it as a fraction with a denominator of 100. 168 out of 100. Now, because our numerator is greater than our denominator, we call this an improper fraction. And in order to simplify this, we know that we're going to have a mixed number. Now, before we put it into a mixed number, we know that we can divide these up to make it a little smaller. So we're going to divide each of these by 4. And if I divide 168 by 4, I'm left with 42. And 100 divided by 4 is 25. So let's get that simplified equivalent fraction. Now we can put it into our mixed number. 25 goes into 42 one time. We're left with a remainder of 17, and our denominator stays the same. So 68% equals 1 and 17 over 25. Let's do another one. Let's say we have 83%. If we want to write that as a fraction, all we do is we take our 83 and write it as a fraction out of 100. And actually, that is the simplest it can go because our next step is to simplify, and 83 out of 100 is the simplest that this fraction can be. So, just as a recap, to write a percent as a fraction, write it as a fraction with a denominator of 100 and simplify.